Okay, welcome. It's time to go through the mapping exercise that is in chapter 11 of the Machlis book. So I have gone through and installed the dev tools already, and the dev tools will install from the GitHub some helper files for the mapping software and then a couple extras here. So you need to go and install these yourself. I'm not going to take up the video with the wonderful experience of watching paint dry while I load material from GitHub. So it takes a couple minutes and we can just kind of speed through the video by doing all that. You then load all of these libraries after you get that stuff installed. Libraries installed. Okay. And then you load the library software, the map software, Tigris, and set this option for the cache. I talked about this in class about how to create a cache directory on your machine. You have to go into the environment and create a new folder. So that's the cache. Oops, I'm losing my place. All right, go to the working directory. There we are. Okay, and here's the cache folder that I created by going new folder, cache. And then I went to Finder, and here's the cache folder in that same directory. And we did this little business where we copied the cache directory. So you go Control and click. So I'm holding down Control on the keyboard, and I'm hitting click, and it brings up this little menu here, right? So once again, holding down Control on the keyboard and hitting click. And then we come down to this thing that says Copy Cache. I still have my finger on the Control. Now I'm adding the option, which is right next to Control, and it says Copy Cache as file name. You see that? I'm putting down the option, copy it as path name. Going to bring up a little text editor and oops. And I paste that thing in here and it looks like this. This is the directory, so it can point the cache files to the particular folder. You do all that and you paste your directory in this spot in the code. That would be line 47. Set the cache directory, read the environment. Then you will need to restart R. I'm not going to do this again, but just it is something you will need to do. Restart R is under session. And then after you restart R, you go back and you reload the libraries, but not the data. Okay, just reload the libraries. And that gets us up to the here we go section. Okay, so what we're going to show you here is the on the mapping exercises that you'll need, to do a decent mapping, any mapping exercise. You're going to need a file that's going to define a geographic area, such as towns, cities, or states, and a file with the data about those units. We're going to be using census data that will tell us, income by a particular county. And then you have to merge those two and display the results. So we have brought in data from the census in this whole process here using library Tigris and these helper files. Census data. Let's bring this thing up. Let me do this right here. There we go. So here are some census data files that are operating in the background. They are files that come from the Census American Fact Finder. These help, basically provide the mapping interface for the specific data that we're going to put in, like income or things of that nature. So that's just to let you know what's running in the background there. So we're going to create this variable California counties. You can see down here in the terminal window that something's running, and California counties kicks in here a large file of 58 different options, 3.9 megabytes. Okay, big file. And just to do a quick plot, show what it looks like. The plot looks like that. Just gives us an outline of California counties. Alrighty, next we're going to bring in California schools, just for the heck of it. And schools, we could plot the schools here. School district plot looks like that. All right. One of the standard features in R is this thing called simple features mapping, and they're basically easier to deal with than conventional data frames. Machlis talks about this in the book in chapter 11.2, I believe, or where does she talk about this thing? It's 11.3. I'm sorry. So just to let you know that there are different standards for mapping. This actually should be, just move this around down here. Oops. Okay, cool. All right, so the simple features plot will be this. So something very similar to what we already did with California counties. Created a separate object though. Okay, so that. See, we have one that is a spatial polygon data frame, and then we have a simple features. Similar size, but different level of complexity. This is important to know in case you're doing this on your own. You want to know the difference between the two. So simple features mapping standard, more like data frame. If you're to look at a simple features, I'm just going to do this thing in dplyr just to give you a sense of what's going on. Simple features looks kind of similar to our typical data frame, right? Character functions, all spelled out fairly easily. To give you a sense of what the spatial polygon data frame looks like. Look at that thing. Much more complex, much bigger. These polygons give you a level of mapping detail that is important and can be good for some projects. For the purposes of what we're doing here, we're not going to be needing that. So that's the difference when you see an SF versus a standard polygon. So there is a quick thematic mapping function called QTM that's very similar to the qplot that was in ggplot. We used qplot a couple of times. So we're just going to run a quick thematic mapping on the county's simple features file. Quick thematic mapping, it's a quick hit. Gives us an outline of what we're looking at here for the map. It just gives you kind of a quick hit overview. We're now we have kind of we've done sort of a basic overview of map functions. It's now time to import some data. So we've just been dealing with kind of like the shell, and now we're going to fill the shell with data and make some real live maps. So we're going to bring in an object called California income that will bring in Data from census, the American Community Survey is ACS. It's 2017 data. It's the 5-year estimates. And these are files for what? I guess this is your median income files. Yeah. And so we're going to bring that in. Creates the object of California income. Yeah. And just to take a look at what that is, California income. We have a geo ID, so that's each county has its own ID number. All right. And then, so Alameda County next to Oakland is where Oakland is. That's its geo ID. And then we have the median income number, which is represented by this field. And then this E, which is the margin of error. And then all the geometric and latitude, longitude material for the data. So that's what's going on with that. And if we just wanted to look at it for a header file. So notice here's California, the state. It has a shorter geo ID than a county. So as you get down into smaller increments of geography, you get into more detail and so forth. And that is the median income for the entire state, and that's the margin of error. Okay, so there we go. All right, back to this. I'm actually, well, okay, I'll run this. What the heck? I didn't like the fact that it had a mixture of state and county income, so I'm just taking off the first row. Okay. Now we're going to rename the first row had the state income and the rest of the file was county. I just want to make it all county. Just being kind of a particular guy here. Okay. We're going to rename the columns because we had the columns with these funny header names. So we're going to rename this, you know, as median income and so forth. Okay. So here we are renaming the county, calling it county, median income, and margin of error. That's what that's all about. This little thing is to try to convert the x-axis out of scientific notation because we're going to run a quick histogram. The histogram just shows the distribution of income, of median income in the state. 40,000, 1 million. So frequency in percent. And there you go. Just to get a sense of what we have. That's all we're doing with that. So this gives us a quick view of a map and using this T-map. And so now we're setting the T-map function so we can do an interactive view. We're going to hit the quick T-map function on California income and filling it with median income. Taking a little bit, and there we are. We can scroll over this and we have these funny little GeoIDs that need to be fixed, but we can get a sense of what the median income is by county. Okay. If we wanted to go in between views and then redraw the last map, it would now be a static map. This is now a static map of median income. So these are the poorer counties up near the Oregon border. A lot of more cows and trees than people. a lot of poverty up here, actually. It's pretty sad. And then obviously down in Silicon Valley and San Francisco and all that, very wealthy. Look how much wealthier this area is than even Los Angeles is as extremely prosperous that area is. So really interesting, quick overview there. We're now going to bring up an interactive map with pop-ups in the names. So it's a QTM shape map with California income, and then the pop-ups are going to be median income and county. So running that, and zoom out this baby. And we need to, I guess, bring up the interactive mode here. Let's see. Run that again. Okay. So there was a little hiccup here, and I'm going to bring this back in before this. We had gone between shortcuts and had looked at the map in a static function, and then we had to rerun this code again to look at it in an interactive map. So there we go. So we've made the interactive map here. Zooming in, and you can see that's Humboldt County, where they grow all the weed, and that's where I used to live, in Mendocino County, where they grow a lot of weed. And you cut down trees and you grow weed. That's what you do up there. You click on it, and we have these pop-ups. Humboldt County, median income, $43,718, except for in the harvest season from October to November, the income will triple. Yeah, I mean, that's what's on the books. Though there's far more wealth up here because of the underground marijuana economy. My first business story, by the way, was that. Marin County, where my sister lives, doing very well, and another sister living up here in Sonoma County. So really cool to see how this works, this interactive map. Love this feature here. Okay. So we are now going to make this map an object and then save it because we liked what happened here. Saving that as an object. That's the map that we have created. Large T map with all this stuff. Okay, and now skip that. We're going to save this as an HTML object. And just about done with the saving of this big sucker. Take your friggin' time. Okay, here we are. The map has now been saved in our folder. I'm going to click on this. I'm going to open it in a web browser. And here is our map in a web browser with these pop-up functions. Now it's running locally, and we're going to figure out how to load this up on WordPress later this week. But very, very cool function. We'll be messing around with this and coming up with other ideas and applying this whole exercise to the great state of Arkansas. So we can now declare victory, celebrate in our nerd powers, and you are going to do the same thing for Arkansas. All right. Thanks for watching.